Hello, my name is Ann Barnhardt, and I am the person who says the things that everyone else is too terrified to say. I'm afraid that time is growing short, and I feel that I am morally obliged to inject logic and common sense into the national discussion on two incredibly important topics, if I can. The first topic is that of health insurance and the overall healthcare services market, which I will address in this video. The second topic is that of Social Security and Medicare entitlements and how to deal with them, which I will explain in a separate video. Before we begin, I would just like to restate for the record how utterly disgusting it is that I am the person who apparently has to be the voice of logic, reason, and obvious common sense for a nation of 310 million people, and maybe even for the entirety of Western civilization, which numbers into the billions of souls. Who the hell am I? I am not well educated. I have an undergraduate degree in animal husbandry, which I consider to be nothing more than a formality. My real education consists first and foremost of real-life experience and the responsibilities and performance demanded therein, which is nothing rare, along with an Amazon.com Prime membership. My modest little economics library includes Friedrich Hayek, Hilaire Belloc, Ludwig von Mises, Milton Friedman, and Thomas Aquinas. I'm no scholar. I'm no super genius. I'm above average, but half of the population is above average, so that really isn't saying much. There should be thousands, if not millions, of other people saying the things that I am saying, but there aren't, and that is what is so terrifying. Do you want to know what real fear is? Real fear is not the threat that Muslims might come to your house and cut your head off. Real fear is climbing into bed at night with the full knowledge and understanding that if you don't speak the simple truth, if you don't state the obvious, no one else will. In a nation of 310 million people, in a civilization numbering in the billions, in a world of 6.8 billion souls. If you don't say it, Ann, it will go unsaid. That, ladies and gentlemen, is fear. That is abject flipping terror, and it's not fun. But enough about that. Let's start with the problem of health insurance and the resulting disorder and unnatural price inflation in the healthcare services market. The primary reason that the cost of healthcare is going through the roof is because the paradigm of insurance itself has been completely corrupted and bastardized. This corruption and abuse of the concept of insurance, which is nothing more than risk management and risk pooling, is itself what is artificially inflating healthcare costs. A secondary cause of healthcare price inflation that bears a quick mention is indeed the out-of-control malpractice litigation culture personified by that walking human compost heap, John Edwards. The solution there is simple. Cap malpractice awards and implement a loser pays rule to disincentivize frivolous litigation. It's not rocket surgery. The current conceptual disorder with regards to health insurance is completely untenable and unsustainable, and if not corrected very, very quickly, will collapse and destroy the entire economy, at which point no one will get any health care at all, so you damn sure better listen up. Health insurance is meant to be a protection against catastrophic costs and expenses. The operative term here, people, is catastrophic. It is meant to financially protect against such circumstances as being hurt in a terrible car accident or being diagnosed with a terrible disease. Most people go through their entire lives without ever being badly hurt in an accident or being diagnosed with a terrible disease. Again, the operative term is most people. Yes, people do get cancer and other diseases, and people are involved in accidents. But listen, most people live their entire lives without either of those things happening and die in their natural old age of either a heart attack or a stroke. Most people. Do you hear me? Most people. Now that we understand this, we can start talking about risk pooling or insurance. If most people never have a catastrophic healthcare expense in their lifetime, What an insurance company can do is provide a mechanism for pooling that risk. They can offer a policy whereby a pool of customers pay a small premium in order to protect against the risk of catastrophe. Since most people do not experience a catastrophe, the premium revenues collected by the insurance company will be greater than the amount of money the insurance company has to pay out in claims. That remainder is profit, praise the Lord, to the insurance company, which is the only incentive there can possibly be for them or anyone else to continue to offer the service of risk pooling. The reason that the system of health insurance in the U.S. is broken today is because the concept of insurance itself has been bastardized and corrupted such that the expectation of coverage is no longer merely to protect against catastrophic expenses, but to cover absolutely everything. Simple office visits, sore throat, chest cold, minor cuts requiring stitches, heck, even setting a broken bone or arthroscopically working on a torn ligament in a knee. Yes, that's right, you're hearing me correctly. We should be paying for all of those types of medical services out of our pockets. They are not catastrophic. They are unpleasant and inconvenient. All of us, as a culture, need to man up and understand the difference between the two. Popping your ACL is not a catastrophe. Being greased by a drunk driver is a catastrophe. Being diagnosed with leukemia is a catastrophe. If we as a culture continue in this decadent refusal to acknowledge the difference between mere inconvenience and catastrophe, we will be forced to understand what real catastrophe is after our economy collapses and no one is able to get any health care at all. Do you understand? You are not entitled to an insurance policy which covers every little thing. In fact, if it is mandated that insurance cover every little thing, including preventative care, then the entire concept of risk pooling collapses in flames. The more the insurance company has to cover, the higher the odds that any given individual is going to have a claim. This would be like demanding auto insurance coverage that would pay out for a car wash if an insect hit your windshield. And not just a $7 car wash at the gas station, but a $300 full detail job. If that were the case, the cost of car insurance would become prohibitively expensive. But guys, my example of auto insurance paying out for a $300 detail job after having an insect hit your windshield is not an unreasonable analog to today's health insurance market. We have health insurance today that covers acupuncture and cosmetic surgery. If you force insurance to cover preventative care and purely cosmetic or non-medical procedures, then what you're doing is you're guaranteeing that every single participant in the risk pool can potentially have a claim. If every person in the pool is guaranteed or even mandated to have a claim, then it's no longer a risk pool. My God, how can it be that no one understands this? The problem isn't that insurance isn't providing enough coverage. The problem is that insurance is now providing too much coverage. If you really want the paradigm of health insurance to survive and you want healthcare costs to go down, we need to be moving in the opposite direction. We need to be setting minimum deductible levels tied to income. And I'm thinking something on the order of 10% of gross income. So if you make $50,000 per year, your deductible would be $5,000. And quit your whining. That's $417 per month if and only if you were to max out your deductible. If you spend nothing on healthcare services in a year, that $5,000 is still in your pocket. You don't have to spend that money. Now, compare that to what you're paying for insurance today. Are you paying more than $417 per month for insurance that you may or may not use at all? Heck, what are you paying for cable or satellite service per month? That money is gone, but you couldn't live with a deductible equivalent to $417 per month, of which you may not have to spend a single cent? Really? Really? Raising deductibles would accomplish two very important things. First, it would lower the cost of health insurance itself because as deductibles increase, the number of payable claims would proportionately decrease. Fewer payable claims would mean less risk to the insurance companies, who would therefore be compelled and forced by free market competition to drop their premiums commensurate with the reduced risk profile of the entire pool.